right, you're listening to the Songwriter's Notebook podcast. I'm your host, Will Duvall, here in Washington, D.C.
And this is Jordan Brown from London.
And we have our second installment. We hope you listened to the first one and you following our podcast now, and either on YouTube or iTunes. So Jordan's got our topic for today.
Right. As a producer, I get to work with a lot of singers and a lot of people who are actually starting out as songwriters. So they bring me tunes, and the songs are great, but maybe they're not in the right key for their voice. And this is what I want to talk about this week. The fact that as a songwriter, probably you're starting out as a songwriter, you're starting out as a guitar player or a piano player. So you just know only a small number of chord shapes.
Jordan, you're singling out all the flute songwriters right now. You know that.
I know. Sorry about that.
There's a lot of people out there who started writing on flute.
Fair enough. I get that.
Okay.
But
right. Let's just keep them in. Okay.
Okay. Let's. Well. Okay. Let's be specific then. If you accompany yourself with a polyphonic instrument, so an instrument that can make chords, you.
Sorry, I just totally made you lose your train of thought. Forgive me.
No, that's okay, man. I love you anyway. You need to know chords when you start out as a guitar player, for example. Because you got to accompany yourself, and you write a song, and you get your guitar, and for example, if you're a guitar player, you tend to use open string chords, so chords that have a lot of like open string because they're easier. For example, bar chords, you get to them later in your musical life. So you tend to write a lot of stuff in G, you tend to write a lot of stuff in C, you tend to write a lot of stuff in D or E minor, the easy chords. Now, that can work for you, but that also means that your melodies are related to that tonality, to that key center you're implying with your chords. And maybe it's not the best key for your vocals. So if you feel like your vocals are too low or too high, don't just say, oh, well, it's just good enough. Try and change the key. If you have a keyboard, I know it's cheating, but use the transpose button. If you have a guitar, just, use a capo and move it around.
Yep.
And get to the sweet spot. It needs to feel comfortable for you to sing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know how many times that you've told me as I've brought songs over to you that it's like, I don't know that that's a good key for your voice. And, it's something that you just always are thinking about. If you're writing pop music, and I'm kind of just going on my own experience here of like writing songs that you want people to sing to, you need to kind of, again, understand your audience a little bit. Some songs you can just be like really flashy and show. If you've got a great range, you just want to show it off, then you can do that. If you don't have a great range, then be aware of that too, and write something that that you can comfortably sing and is going to sound good and is going to make sense to your audience, and that they are going to be able to sing along to as well.
That's a very good point. Another thing that's important in this kind of topic, now this sounds stupid, but bear with me, my story gets better. If you live in a flat, in a tower block or a condo or whatever, and you don't want to disturb your neighbors, probably you'll be writing in a lower key than your voice, if that makes sense. That happened to me a lot of times because I'm conscious of whoever's around me.
Sure.
So for example, if you're trying to write something, for example, a rock tune, but you're in your bedroom, chances are that you need to kick it up a key or two. That's a very common thing that happens. So check your tunes, check your keys, and see if you actually if you're writing a rock tune, you need to push. You need to feel the voice in your chest.
Mm-hmm.
If that doesn't happen, it's too weak.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. The other thing is just learn what your range is. You know, go to a piano, go to a guitar, and kind of figure out what your range is. Just doing scales, you know, with your vocal warm ups.
Good point.
And figure out what's going to work best for your voice, and you find keys that work best for your voice. I find for some reason the key of E is great for my voice. You know, I always come back to it, and I'm like, I can hit some good high notes in there, and there's some nice lower range in there. So you get a good, nice range of my voice, but I know what my range is. I can go to an A pretty comfortably and a B sometimes. So the key of E is great because, you know, that's your 4 and your 5. I run into a lot with songwriters and vocalists who come in. It's just finding the right key for your voice is going to make or break the song, especially when you're playing it live. You want to have a key that you're comfortable singing even whenever you're nervous. Now that's one thing that I've run into as well. You get nervous, and if you're singing in a key that's too low for your voice, then it's going to be really shaky. You're not going to have the breath for it, and it's going to sound worse if you're nervous. You're already going to kind of have nerves anyway, but if you have something that's in your voice, the right range, you know you're going to be able to sing it well.
Right. Let me add something on top of that, because that's really interesting. Thanks for that, man. That's a very good point. When you write songs, you know, you got to be like range conscious, because if you're singing like in a lower key, or you want to sing something in a very like somber kind of nocturnal way, you know, something in the bass frequencies of your voice, then think whenever you're gonna go and sing it live, 99% of the time you don't have your own sound engineer. There's no compression in the microphone. You don't know the stage. It doesn't translate well. You know, the big artists we look up to, and you know, they can pull off all that stuff. It's also because they have a lot of technology behind what they're doing.
Sure.
So whenever you write a tune, always make sure it doesn't have to be the main important thing, but always think like probably you will have to sing it at an open mic night sandwiched in between two other guys, or you know, just you and a guitar. And if it doesn't translate well, people are not gonna like the song. They're not gonna buy your CD. So think about that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And that's probably worth another podcast of just going over playing live, you know, in the different venues, open mics, bars, churches, wherever you're playing. The sound is never going to be optimal. I mean, it's just probably never going to be great. So, I mean, again, that's for another time, but yeah, those are some great points.
Yeah, I think we're done today. Thanks for listening. As usual, like us, follow us on YouTube, download from iTunes, and please let us know what you think. You know, wherever you are, Facebook, whatever, just come say hello, and let's just talk about all this. Yes?
Sounds great. So this is Will Duvall here in Washington, D.C.
And this is Jordan Brown from London.
This is the Songwriter's Notebook Podcast. Thanks.